they know what wine I drink. This is Heather. Howdy doody. Scout's a really good listener. Look at the eye contact that she's not making with me. I ran into a bit of a situation. Why don't I just show you? I'm gonna call an old friend. Our president just called for a national emergency. I'm very interested to see what my friend has to say about it. He is the biggest Trump fan. Without further ado, I'm gonna call him. So I made that, and I called so many times.
Your call has been...
I don't know what to do now. What? Come on. All right. He just texted back. We'll see. You feel? She's like, are you sleeping? Ugh. Yeah. That was disappointing. I ended up being able to listen to my roommate. It's literally just effective listening. What do you think about something? What do you think of gun control?
I just think it would be like a driver's license and multiple tests.
Oh my god, wait, okay, how do you feel about 9/11?
It was definitely an inside joke.
Okay, That's what happened after Trump guy refused to answer my calls. I actually didn't know that that was even recording until I downloaded everything onto my computer and was like, what is this really long video of my bed? What was I filming? I think it's still relevant because Austin's my roommate. We get along really well. That would suck if we didn't get along. We live together. I was actually imposing consistency. We've agreed on almost everything in the past, so I guess we're just gonna agree on everything in the future. This led me victim to faulty assumptions. I assumed we were the same person. I knew what he was thinking. I knew all of his opinions because they're mine, because we're the same. Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy saying it out loud. You know, to some degree, I was right. Every time I brought up a topic, it was like, yep, we agree. Looking back and watching it though, I noticed something. I was actually selectively listening, and this is because of confirmation bias, which is the tendency to notice things that are consistent with our current beliefs. See, I listen. So anyways, when I started this project, or when I made the proposal, I had this whole plan that I was going to talk to Trump guy because he loves Trump and I don't love Trump, and he wants to build walls and I want to break down walls. But that just didn't work out. And that was, that was another listening barrier. He didn't answer the fucking phone. I didn't think I would get everything out of the assignment. Part of this project I had initially thought was listen to someone and realize, hey, we're not so different, you and I. But I went into this thinking we're the same. And then after I was like, hey, maybe we're different, you and I. Maybe that's how I listen. I'm just here thinking I agree with everyone on everything. But really, because of selective listening, someone could say a whole spiel yeah, I think we should get rid of the illegal immigrants. They're dirty, taking our jobs. I like Mexican food, but the rest of it can just get out. And I'm like, oh my god, I love Mexican food. We're so similar. So that's insight number one. I gave up on the idea that we would ever disagree too soon, apparently. And he was like, I have this conspiracy. And I was like, perfect, we'll go with it. I don't even care. I just need to listen to you. I didn't ask him what the conspiracy was. So this is kind of what happened. What conspiracy are you gonna do?
How the world was created, clear idea on what I think.
Oh, I'm excited.
I believe in extraterrestrials and aliens, specifically grays.
Rewatching this, and I'm sorry it's so out of focus. I don't know what happened. The main thing that I noticed about myself listening is just the facial expressions. I have a very animated face, as you can see. Instead of verbally communicating how I feel, I non-verbally communicate how I feel by having all these faces.
Really tall, skinny, big eyes. It's the only alien that any human has actually identified. And then I found this weird scar on me. Scar with a couple hairs coming out of it.
I don't even know.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. And we went and got it cut open and tested, and they took like the weird little gunk that's in there out of there. So they're like, oh, that's your alien scar, like you're abducted, blah, blah, and that.
I think that comes out to me being like judgy. That's the first thing I noticed. Going into this assignment, I was like, okay, effective listening. I know how to listen effectively. Make eye contact and you nod.
Somewhere else. It's not like UFOs and knowing about other life, and that's where like most of the places, like weird places like Hungary and Russia, me who likes to skateboard and fingerboard and, you know, hang out and do my own thing is gonna want to do.
So what ended up happening was I was actually pseudo-listening a lot of the time. I realized that while I was trying to clarify, I did not really remember what he even said in the first place. So
that would make sense because people don't.
We all adapted this from man-made stuff.
Yeah.
Man-made.
It's the ADHD. There were a few times that I noticed that there was this tone to my voice.
What kind of proof?
You know,
what is man-made exactly? Are you religious at all?
And that tone, really, to me, it did not feel judgmental when I was saying it. But watching it, I kind of heard it. So I don't know if that means subconsciously I was like, you're a fucking weirdo, or if maybe I have like resting bitch voice. I also noticed that a lot of my open-ended questions were like hypothetical situations.
Do you believe in ghosts? If there were ghosts, do you think the aliens would have made the ghosts? Is this like a science experiment or like...
No.
But if we made it as humans and we were made by the aliens.
I'm not one of those hypothetical people that just goes around like, you had to kill your dog or your husband to save the world. No, I asked a lot of these hypotheticals to gain more insight. Another thing I noticed is that I tend to apply humor in a lot of situations.
Like,
were you on
we
drugs?
thought it was a helicopter. No, we're driving around.
Santa Cruz, dude.
Yeah, be in this heaven where
virgins.
So that was kind of like a clarification, but instead of coming from, I'm really interested, it came from, I'm really funny. It might have even been inappropriate here. Like I might have totally offended my roommate. I don't know. Apparently I can't read his mind. I also smiled a lot.
Are you afraid of aliens?
Yeah, obviously it's scary. It's like if you haven't taken drugs before, you're like terrified, like you're not going to run away from people that have acid or something, but
that conveys that something's funny. Some of the things you said were funny. Very funny. But I don't know what to do with that information. Maybe it's not as appropriate to smile. No, you should smile. I don't know. And I noticed at one point I kind of perked up and you could see it on my face. It was like, aha!
You know when like you have a instinct on something, say like you're like, oh, this is what I feel like would happen, not with having to think about it and it's just instantly.
Yeah, totally. I don't know why people go on carnival rides. Have you not seen Final Destination 3? So I was at this fair and I was like, it was the weird hammer ride. I was like, if we go on that, we'll die. Let's not do it. And then the thing gets stuck upside down for like 3 hours. I'm so glad we weren't on that ride. But my gut feeling was saying, hey, don't go on that ride. So when he was like, hey, I can't explain it, it's a gut feeling. It's like, yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I think that was an effective tool for someone who's talking to a listener. So he started talking about this time that he supposedly saw a UFO.
And we pull off and we're like up on East Cliff now watching it and it just finally stops and it's just chilling in the sky. Bright white.
Like a
like
circle?
So pretty.
Just like a beam. Just towards the ocean, not the
like
the other side of the
middle
bay.
of the ocean. There's like the middle of the ocean and it's like.
You see what's happening there? The gestures? I ended up mirroring what he was doing with his hands. I was following along with what he was doing and ended up looking like... But we weren't actually dancing. I was picking up on that energy. It just kind of happened naturally. I was paying more attention. I was more interested. And you could see the drastic change. Appearing attentive and nodding. That and me like, so you were on East Cliff? Was it Monterey? If you have no idea what we're talking about, it's because it's California. A big thing that I need to kind of pay attention to with listening. One, listen. I have ADHD. It's hard to pay attention. Watch tone. Watch your face. Try to be a little more neutral with the face. Gotta work on that resting bitch tone. Resting bitch voice. I end up totally getting distracted by the camera because I'm like, is this still filming? And so I interrupt him.
And then the second time, I was like 17.
Make sure. Okay.
Still going.
Yeah, it's hard for me to sit still in one place for too long. Listening is an art. You have to practice it, and you gotta do those things that guy was saying in something that I wrote down. 3 minutes a day of silence. Listen to a mixer. How many sounds are there? Savoring. I don't know. After I thought I was wrapping it up, I kind of shifted modes completely from being, yes, I'm a student, this is the listening project, I'm going to listen, to me being like, I'm a person now. I realized that I was a total stage hogger.
Those are like weird demons
of people. It's like almost
maybe
like
the
us.
aliens have alien animals.
Maybe
that
they
would
do.
Be like,
Maybe
that would
those
be
are
like
like.
He was trying to say something, and it's my turn to talk. I just sat quietly, almost quietly, for like 20 minutes. I know this about myself. I am not a great listener. I get distracted really easily. I'm preoccupied by my own thoughts a lot of the time. If someone's talking for a really long time, like, I can't obtain any more information. I am usually genuinely interested in what people have to say if it's interesting, and I find a lot of things interesting. I love school. As soon as a teacher starts going over a review, I tend to zone out because I'm like, I already know this. And that is faulty assumptions, my friends, because then I kind of tune in selectively and I'm like, what the f is she talking about right now? No idea. So that doesn't help me. It's really hard for me to pay attention for that long because of the ADHD. I can't even focus on myself talking for that long. What was I saying? Oh yeah, moving. Being as I'm a kinesthetic learner, I tend to focus more and learn things and obtain information and listen better when I'm moving around. So while watching me do the whole robot dance with Austin, I was internalizing it. I was like making a visual map of what the UFO was doing. And so if I'm doing things like that, then I actually listen better. But if I'm listening to someone and I'm doing a bunch of shit, then it might totally seem like I don't care what they're saying, I'm not paying attention. And in actuality, I am. Oh, my roommate just got home again. So yeah, that's my insights.